Hey y'all, how y'all doing today? I hope everyone's out there is doing well and just staying out the way, y'all. 'Cause that's all we can do is just try to stay out the way. I hope everyone's aside from what's going on out here. I just hope everyone's enjoying their summer because before you know it, it's gonna be over. And then we're gonna be complaining about the cold weather. So, you know, we just gotta live, Lord. We just gotta live. Let loose. Enjoy life. And give God all the glory, y'all. But I'm on here today because guess I just want to talk some more about domestic abuse, which is also sometimes called domestic violence. Because it can start out with the mental abuse and go into the physical abuse if you don't put a stop to it. So that's why sometimes before rushing into relationships, we need to just take our time, try to get to know each other, you know? A lot of times we think we're in love with someone, but in a lot of cases it's just infatuation. A lot of times it's just the sex. If you're having sex with the person, you think you're in love with the person. A lot of times you're just in love with the sex. Sometimes you're just in love with what the person has. You know? You gotta, you can't always just look at what's on the inside of a person, you know? Sometimes we choose a person because of what they have and how they look. We don't take time to really get to know the person, you know? It takes time to know a person. They say you don't really know a person until you live with them. A lot of times that's true. You don't really know them until you live together, you know? No two people always like the same things. So, one might be a clean freak. The other could care less, you know? One likes to have things one way, the other wants things another way. But, I don't know. You don't really know a person in a day or two. It takes time. You gotta pay attention to the way that they treat you as well as the way they treat other people. You know, find out some background. Have you met their family? You know, if you gotta go as far as checking them out to see if they've ever been in prison. And I'm not saying everybody that's been in prison is a bad person. I'm just saying check people out before you really get involved. Get to know them, you know. You want to know if they have a record. Have they ever been a child molester? Have they ever committed suicide? Have they ever have if they've ever had a record for domestic violence? Pay attention to the way they treat you. Do they really try to control you? Do they try to tell you where you can and cannot go? Are they always trying to check your phone? Trying to keep you away from your family and friends, you know? You gotta pay attention to these things. Are they always trying to tell you what to do? What to wear? Where you can go and can't go? What you can eat, can't eat? If you have children, maybe you have children that are not that person's. How do they treat your children? When you first get in a relationship with someone, don't always be so quick to introduce them to your kids. You don't know what type of person this is. So don't be so quick to introduce them. Don't be so quick to bring them into your home and let them know all your business and all. You know, I just think a lot of relationships maybe would turn out better if you really take the time to know each other before you jump into relationships. A lot of times we really want a person to be what we want them to be instead of seeing them for who they really are. And as women, a lot of times we think that we can change them, but we can't. It's hard enough trying to change your own ways, let alone someone else's. No. I don't care how good you may treat them, how good you may look, how good you may cook, how good you may do anything. It's not going to change that person unless they want to be changed. A lot of times women think if they have a child or children by these men, that it's going to make their relationship better. No. A lot of times it's only going to make it worse because then you're going to have more problems, especially if this man doesn't want to be involved with the child or the children. That's not going to keep him. If anything, it's going to help him to be able to still be out there doing his thing and running back and forth to your place when he wants to because he has a child or children by you. So this man is going to be in your life at least for the next 18 years in one way or another. Unless you really put your foot down and you really just do co-parenting, and that's the only involvement. But just because you're having children by these men doesn't mean that they're going to stay. You're only putting more problems on yourself because then you're going to be the one left to take care of these kids. And unless the man has a job or a good paying job, if you get child support, you're not going to get that much for child support. So don't think because you have children or going to have a child or whatever that it's going to hold these men, because it's not going to. I don't know. It's just that it's getting worse with this domestic violence thing. And every time I look around, they're killing the kids. You're finding the kids dead in refrigerators, or where they done buried them somewhere. Or they just done beat them half to death and then they take them to the hospital like they don't know what happened. That's domestic abuse. A lot of times the abuser will try to turn the child or the children against the victim by making like they don't care about them. They don't care about their children. Or mommy or daddy, whoever was bad. So that's why I had to abuse them. Or mommy was bad, that's why I had to beat her. But it's only making your daughters grow up thinking that this is the way it is. She allows a man to abuse her because she's seen her mother being abused by her father. So she thinks this is the way it's supposed to be. A lot of times the man will grow up being an abuser because he's seen his dad abusing his mom. And it just goes on and on and on. Now in some cases, men will not abuse a woman because he's seen his dad abusing his mom. Some cases, a woman would not stand for it because she's seen her mother going through it so much. But there's more and more cases of the fact that she grows up seeing her mom being beat. She goes through the same thing. That the guy grows up seeing his dad abusing his mom, so he grows up, he does the same thing because he believes that he's in charge. She's supposed to listen to him because he brings the money home, he says, or he pays the bills. Even the ones that don't pay the bills and don't have a job. Maybe the woman that has the only income, she brings the money home, gives it to him. He still wants to beat on her. It's just so humiliating and degrading when you walk around with marks and bruises. Sometimes, like if you work, you don't want to go home. That's how I was. I'd be at work, and I didn't even want to go home after work because I never knew if we're going to have another ordeal or not. You kind of like walk around on eggshells because you don't know what you're going to say or do to set him off. So you don't know if you didn't cook the meal right, didn't clean the house right, according to him. Just anything. Don't like what you're wearing, doesn't like the way your hair is. Change this, change that. I mean, it's just so much. It's just like you never get it right. Then they come on with the thing saying, nobody else is going to want you. You have too many kids. Or you're too fat. Sometimes they even tell you you're too skinny. You're too old. You're stupid. You're crazy. I mean, and it's just like these men get together and practice what they're going to say because all of them are saying the same things to their victims, to their partners. They're saying the same things. You're old, you're ugly, you're stupid, you're crazy. Sometimes they even try to have you 302'd. They just bring your self-esteem and your confidence down. They make you feel like dirt, like you're nothing. Why do they go through these things? A lot of times because they're afraid of losing you. They don't want you to get a job or get an education because they feel as though one day you're going to leave them. So they got to keep you under their control. They don't want you around other people because they don't want other people to see what's going on and what they're doing to you. They don't want you to go out there and try to get any help. And then you'll keep giving them chance after chance. Here comes the honeymoon stage where they come in with boxes of candy and flowers and jewelry and different gifts and say they're sorry, they're apologizing, they're never going to do it again. They're going to get counseling. So you make up and you give them another chance. That's called the honeymoon stage. But they only do it over and over again because they see that you're going to keep taking them back. You're going to keep forgiving them. And then in some cases you want to leave, but you can't leave because you may not have any money to go anywhere else to find another place. You may not even have any money to get a hotel. Some cases you may not even have family that you can go to. So you just feel like you're at a loss. You want to leave, but Sometimes they'll scare you. They'll tell you if you're ever trying to leave that they will take the kids away. You'll never see them again. Or they'll threaten to do harm to your family. It's just all kind of things that they put you through until you finally make up your mind that this is it, that you just can't go through it anymore. And then you'll finally, hopefully, go out there and try to get some help. It's not doing the children any good. I'd rather not have a man in the house and raise my children by myself than to put them through all this embarrassment and shame and humiliation. I mean, going to bed at night and trying to go to sleep, or you're in your room and trying to do your homework, but all you can hear is your parents screaming and hollering at each other, throwing things and fighting. I mean, this takes a big toll on these children's minds. No one wants to hear that every night or every weekend. And you're cowering in the bed and pulling the covers up over your head because you don't want to hear what's going on with your mom and dad. I mean, and then some people stay together. They say they're staying together because of the kids and there's no more love there, but they're going to stay together until the kids are grown, and some do, and then they separate, get a divorce or whatever. So imagine all this time the kids are going through all this trauma from hearing what's going on between their parents. So I would rather not have a father in the home or a mom either if she's the one that's the abuser. If I have to put my kids through this, I'd rather just raise them by myself in a much calmer home. So it doesn't always pay to have two parents in the home. If all they're going to be doing, if all there's going to be is a lot of chaos and a lot of arguing and fighting all the time. And it's just gotten even worse now. It's even worse because so many people are home. So many people are just, I don't know. It just seems like this world is not getting any better. It's getting worse. It's just getting more scarier. You know, more and more crimes are being committed. More and more homicides within the family. Within the family, it's more parents killing each other, more parents killing their children, more family members abusing other members of the family, such as the grandparents. There's a lot of abuse going on with the grandparents. And a lot of this abuse is going on from their own caregivers. A caregiver could be someone from the outside, or a caregiver could be a family member. And yes, they are abusive also. And they're supposed to be taking care of their elderly, bedridden, sick, whatever the problem is that they're going through, that they need caregivers. But they're abusing them through their money. They're abusing them by not taking care of them properly. Maybe they're bedridden and they have to be turned every 2 hours so that they won't get bed sores. Maybe they're taking it out on them when their life isn't going right, so they're smacking them all around, pinching them, abusing them, stealing their money, as well as other things out of the house. So you have to keep an eye on your people. I don't care if they have a caregiver. You still gotta be aware of how these people are being treated. Because when people know that you don't have anyone that cares about you, you don't have anyone that's checking up on you, they will do whatever they want to you. Believe me. Because there's no one else out there that cares about them or checking up on them. So they're being abused also. They get them to sign things and don't even know that they're signing. Getting them to write out checks that they're not supposed to be doing. Or they're sitting there, the caregiver's sitting there sleeping when they're supposed to be taking care of their clients and all. So, I don't know. Now, outside caregiver is not the same as a domestic, but I'm just saying, if you have to have a caregiver to come in and take care of a loved one, always check on them to see what's being done, if they're being taken care of properly. And like I said, a caregiver can also be a family member. And when there's abuse in the home from a family member that's the caregiver, then that's a domestic. That's domestic abuse. But yes, there is help out there if you're going through this. There is help out there. Like I said before, you can call the 1-800-799-SAFE, which is SAFE. You can call them and they will give you the number of domestic abuse organization in your area. And they can help you with shelter. They can help you with legal issues as far as filing criminal complaints and protection orders. They can help you with as far as attending support groups. And they even have little support groups for the children as well. So there is help out there for you. You just have to realize that there's a problem and then get the help, because it's not getting any better. I mean, it's not getting any better. And I get so tired of every time I look on my phone, turn on the TV, all I see is domestic abuse. And it's getting worse by the day. It's happening to our young people. It's happening to our daughters as we speak. Yes, these boys are out here smacking your daughters around, controlling them, controlling who they see, where they go, making them do things that would shock your mind, making them do all kinds of things out here. So sometimes you need to sit your daughters down, and talk to them. Talk to them about their little boyfriends. Try to find out what's going on. Be more observant to your daughters sometime and look and see if they have any types of marks or bruises on their bodies. Check their grades and see how their grades, and if they were getting good grades and now all of a sudden it's going down, try to find out why. Get to know their boyfriends, Invite them over for dinner. Have a little sit down. Try to figure them out. Because I'm telling you, it's not getting any better. Sometimes mom and dad could be going at it and the son will jump in it trying to help his mom. And he gets knocked around. Sometimes The son, if he's old enough, if there's a gun in the house, they'll pull that gun and shoot that dad. So you see all this stuff. You see all this all in one family. Why? Why is so much chaos? And then the abuser, a lot of times, they don't believe that this person is like that. Because he's a pillar of the community. Everyone loves him. He could be the family physician. He could be the police officer. Could be the lawyer, the fireman. It doesn't make any difference. The preacher. It doesn't make any difference who you are, what you have, or where you live. And I think some of it comes behind the fact that man really believes he's the boss, and you're supposed to do as he says. A lot of times, they are the ones out here cheating and messing around, so they're going to automatically say that you are too, even though that they have no proof. But they're going to say that you are too, I guess so that they won't look so bad because they're the ones doing it. So they're going to automatically call you all types of names. They're going to call you every name there is to try to belittle you. And a lot of times they'll do this in front of the kids. Calling you all kind of terrible names in front of the kids. And making you look bad in front of the kids. And that's what they do. A lot of times they'll play the kids in the middle. They'll say things like, Mommy doesn't love you. Or especially if Mom has gotten married again, and then when Dad has the kids, he'll say things like, Mommy doesn't love you. That's why she put you out, put Dad out. And that's why you're here with me, because Mom doesn't love you. She has a new family now. And she has a new husband or a new boyfriend. And he has kids, so that's what Mommy wants. She don't want y'all anymore. He'll say a lot of things to make him look good. And make Mommy look bad. I remember when I was married, and my ex-husband used to tell my girls, tell Mommy you hate her. I mean, he would just say that from time to time. He would get to the girls and tell them, tell Mommy you hate her. And I'm saying, boy, I thank the Lord, I thank the Lord that I have survived. I really thank the Lord that I have survived all that I have went through. Because that was never, 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 ever the life that I wanted to live. I mean, I had been choked till I slid down the wall. I had been kicked in the stomach while pregnant. I had been held over the river and said if I moved, I would be thrown in. I had a sawed-off shotgun pointed at me. He went to pull the trigger, but the barrel went down in the floor or whatever. I thank you, Lord. The Lord has saved me so, so, so many times. When I think about all the things that I have went through, I have been nicked in the back with a knife. Oh, so many times, so many times. I have been beat and choked and kicked. And I just told myself after a while, I mean, I actually had thoughts of how to kill this person and get away with it. I actually did. But I told myself, this is not me. And the Lord knew it wasn't me. And I think that's what finally made me get away, because every now and then I would have those thoughts. But I thank God that I had a mom that I could run to, because I always had my own place. I always had my own place, even when I was married. But there were times I had to run through the night with my kids, because back then things wasn't nowhere near as bad as it is now. So I would take the kids and just run to my mom's house, and a few times in there I would stay with her until I would just find me somewhere else. But when I think back of all the things that I went through with this person, and for what? When he was the one that was doing all the running with the women, and he was the one that never came home. I remember when I first got married, and I would fix dinner, and I would have the kids wait. We would wait, or try to wait until he came in before we would eat dinner. But I had to stop that, because a lot of times he never came in. He never came home. And when he would come home, it would be so late after the children that went to bed and went to sleep, we finally would eat. And the kids would be asleep. I cleaned up the kitchen and all. Sometimes he would come in and I just wiped up the kitchen floor, but it wouldn't be dried yet. So I would say, well, please don't go in the kitchen yet. The floor is still wet. Wouldn't pay me no mind. He'd go in there and put food on and burn it up and things like that. So it was just always, always fighting, because he would drink. And he was the type of person, I guess, that just couldn't drink. So when he would drink, and when he would come home and try to find things to argue and fight about. But yet and still, he would be the one that would be out here all the time with other women. He's the only man that I ever had that I called a female, excuse my expression, but I called a female whore. Because that man, I don't know. He just had it in him. And I guess it was a thing, he just never knew how to treat women. He didn't know how to treat women. And that's why I tell these young ladies now, take your time. Take your time if you know what you want. If you know what type of person you want to be involved with. You got to take your time first and know you. You got to find yourself. You got to help yourself before you can help someone else. And I know I'm just talking out, but I'm just talking right now. I wanted to do a video, and this is some of the stuff I just wanted to say, because you just got to be careful out here nowadays. You got to be, because it's not worth it. Sometimes it's best to be by yourself if you got to go through all these changes, you know. It's best to be by yourself for a while and find yourself. Do what you want to do. Finish school. Get that education. Get that career before you got here, and think about having kids and getting married and shacking up with somebody. No, it's nice to go out on dates. It's nice to have someone over for a nice little dinner or a movie. But don't be so quick to jump into bed and then call it love. And then the person turns out not to be what you want them to be. You can't really blame them. You chose to get involved with this person right away. You chose to be with this person without really finding out a little bit more about them. So you can't always blame other people for your, I'll say, mistakes. But it's just best. If a person really wants to be with you, if they really, really want to be with you, they will wait. They will wait. Because when a person shows you who they are, believe them. Don't just say, oh, I don't like such and such a thing about them, but I know they love me, so, I can change them. You know, I can change them. But no, you can't. Don't ever think that you can't. Don't ever think how many kids you have that'll change them. Don't ever think about how nice you are to them that'll change them. Because it won't. The only thing that change them is if they want to be changed. And and they have to know that there's a problem. Because how can you change something if you don't know what it is? So, when you go through this domestic abuse, it's no joke. It is no joke. It's getting serious, more and more serious by the day. It's more and more. Don't you know that the slightest push the wrong way can kill a person? And then you're going to be sorry afterwards. But the slightest little push, they hit their head the wrong way, that's it. You could be fighting and throw something and then one of the kids be in the way and a child will get hit. And you don't want that. But domestic abuse, sometimes called domestic violence, is hitting, slapping, hitting with a closed fist, which is punching, pushing, kicking, cutting, shooting. All of that is domestic violence. Choking. You don't keep taking it when a guy keeps pushing on you. Sometimes they're just trying to test you to see how far they can go with you. So they might start off with a couple times pushing you around. A couple slaps here and there. And the more you continue to take it, then it turns into even more and more violent. It becomes more and more severe and more often because you're allowing it to happen. So that's why it's good to know the signs of abuse so that hopefully you'll get out of it before it gets worse. Because when they come with it trying to control you, they're trying to control where you go, who you see. No, you can't work, or you better work. Or you can't wear this, you can't wear that. Checking your phones. Those are the signs of abuse. If you're a young teenager and you have a partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, and they want you to call them every minute so they can check up where you're at. Or they don't want you to be around your friends. They're always complaining about, well, why you always got to be around them? I mean, you don't spend enough time with me, or don't listen to what your parents saying, I'm your boss. Or telling you to sneak out of the house to be with them. Like, they're always, like, in control. You're too young to live a life like that. You don't have to listen to what this person is telling you. They're not taking care of you. They're not your parents. So why do you have to listen to what this person is telling you? No. And then another thing people use against abusers will use against you uh, is if they know different things about you that you don't want anyone else to know. So they'll threaten you with that. If you try to leave me, I'll tell such and such a thing. So there's all types of reasons why you don't leave. A lot of times they'll isolate you. They'll lock you in the house when they go off to work in different places. Or if you live in a rural area where you have to have your own transportation, they'll make sure there's only one car in the family, and they'll always have that car so you can't get around. Or they'll withhold money. They'll give you a certain amount of money only to go towards the bills. But that's why if you're ever in a situation and you're planning on leaving, you should always have a safety plan. Always have a safety plan. If you can, you should have some extra money on the side in case you have to flee the home and you need to try to get a hotel room, or if you can save enough money to get another place. And that's another reason why a lot of times they stay, because they don't have the money to do these things. They don't have the money to go to a hotel, or they don't have the money to get a new apartment or a new house or whatever. So they'll continue to stay. But make a plan, have a separate cell phone somewhere that you can use. Have a signal with a family member or a close friend. If there's a problem, you have a signal to let them know that you're in danger. Keep copies of important paperwork, such as your Social Security numbers and your IDs and any other, the child's school records and shot records and all those type of important papers. Keep all these things in one place, preferably, like I said, if you still have parents. You could keep certain things at your house or at a friend's home that you can trust, just not anyone you claim a friend. But keep things at a friend's or just a bag. But you don't want to keep a backpack because they may find it in the house, so that's why I say keep it elsewhere. But keep it here with extra clothing. If you have young kids, maybe a couple of their little special toys that they like. Or games, something to keep them interested if you have to flee the home. But you have to make up a safety plan so that you can get away. And once you get away, you don't tell everybody where you're at. That can go back and tell the abuser. So, and even have extra car keys made, because sometimes they try to take your car keys, so you have extra keys made. And put them somewhere where you can get right to them. So you got to think ahead. You have to think ahead. And when you're making these calls, and when you're going through these things, don't ever holler out, I'm going to call the police. Because if you have a lifeline phone, they're just going to pull it out of the wall. Or if you have a cell phone, they're just going to take it from you. So what you could do is, as soon as you have a chance to get to the phone without that person knowing it, then you call the police. And that's why I say it's good if you have one of them little phones where you can just buy minutes and keep minutes on it. So if you was to take your cell phone that you use every day, you'll still have that phone for emergency cases. So you gotta think ahead. You gotta think ahead. And don't never tell them what you're gonna do. You just do it. But I'm gonna end it right there. I just felt like talking to a little bit more about domestic violence, y'all. And when I come back with another video, it's gonna be on challenging the myths around domestic violence. Because there's a lot of myths about domestic violence, so I'm gonna go over some of them. But all I want to say is stop blaming the victim. Even when I talked about men that are being abused by their women or by their partners, or especially by the woman, someone said, well, what did he do? Meaning, what did he do to make her abuse him? Nothing. Just like a man abuses women, women can abuse a man, but no one has a right to put their hands on you. No one has that right. And if you're in a relationship and things is not working out, if you can't talk it out, if you don't want to go to some type of counseling or what have you, don't put your hands on that person. It's not going to change anything. It's only going to make them hate you even more because you're abusing them. It's not going to make them be any better. So, if you can't work it out by talking to one another or seeking counseling, then just chalk it up as it wasn't meant to be. You go your way and let me go mine. If we have kids, we can co-parent. But we don't have to go through all this knockdown, fighting and kicking and acting crazy. Why? You can't make no one do anything that they don't want to do. First of all, I mean, we can't change these men. And these men can't really change us. They may think they're changing us, but all they're doing is we're just buying time because we're in fear. That's all it is, just buying time, doing what you want us to do because we're in fear, and then we get to a point that we got to think of a way to get out of this, so you're still not winning. You're still not winning. Then a lot of times they're abusing you because they're the ones that's guilty. They're the ones out here doing things they shouldn't be doing, and then they come back and they take it out on you. I just don't understand. But I just wanted to talk. I just wanted to talk some more about domestic violence because I'm telling you, it's a serious thing. It's a thing where nobody wants to talk about. No one wants to realize that these things are happening. They really don't, but it is. It's real. It is really, really real, and I just thank God that I'm a survivor, and it's so hard when you think back through the years of the things that you went through with your abuser, and then once you become a survivor and you begin to be your own person, it's such a lovely feeling. It really is. When you can finally do the things you want to do, say the things you want to say, go where you want to go, dress the way you want to dress, if there's no one standing over you trying to tell you what you can and cannot do, And a lot of times, these are the ones that's not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're not taking care of the home. They're not taking care of the children. But they're trying to control you and trying to be your boss. I guess they try to bring your self-esteem down when they're the ones that really have low self-esteem. I don't know. I guess I could just talk about this stuff. I can just go on and on and on and on. But I'm just saying, people, be more aware. Be more aware in your own family. Or like I said, if you see this happening like with close friends, just let them know. If they ever need help, if they don't know anything about domestic abuse organization, let them know. Give them the national hotline number. Or look up the hotline numbers in that area. Let them know that they don't have to go through this. No one deserves, no one deserves to be hit and beat on. No one deserves to be killed. They're killing the children. Why? What has these kids done to make you want to go that far? If you don't want the child, put them up for adoption. Take them to a police station or a hospital and drop them off. Give them to a family member and let them try to take care of them. You know, turn them over to a family member that might want them, but don't kill them. Don't kill them because of your selfish reasons. You know? Don't be taking advantage of your parents and your grandparents. If it wasn't for them, you wouldn't be here. So why? Because now they're sickly or they're elderly. You want to abuse them. I mean, what anger and hatred that can bring people to do all these crazy things. You know? Guess I'll just never understand. I'll never understand, but I do understand domestic violence. And no one deserves to be hit. The best thing to do, walk away. Walk away. If it's that bad, walk away. I mean, and no one is going to always have their way. No one is going to always have things the way they want it. And if you're out here abusing people physically and mentally and all this stuff, you're never going to be happy yourself. How can you be happy? And no one's going to want to be with you because you're going to be known as an abuser. You're going to be known as a woman beater. And of course, a man abusing a woman, what do they get out of it? Punching and kicking and choking and shooting and cutting on a woman. Is it that bad on a person, period? And the reason I keep saying on a woman, because the majority of these men out here can beat a woman. Now, there's some women out here that can beat some of these men, but, you know, as a whole, there's more men out here, way more men that can beat a woman than a woman can beat a man. But what's the purpose of it? Why? All I gotta say is why. But I guess that'll be it. And I'll be back with another video challenging the myths of domestic violence. But I just wanted to come on here and say these things tonight. And I guess until the next video, I just want to tell everyone to stay out the way, but at the same time, enjoy your life. And also just like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell so you'll be notified of another video. And I love you. I hope you love me too. Peace.